Live streaming. All right. So I start recording. So hi everyone, we are live, and I'm super excited to have Lou here today. Lou Stokes is a style consultant and a confidence coach. And she's going to talk today about aligning your inner and outer world to step into your magnetic power. So, hi, Lou, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. I'll let you introduce yourself and then we'll dive right in.
Thank you, Limor. Thank you. It's a pleasure for being here. And thank you, ladies, for joining. So my name is Lou Stokes. I currently live in Madrid, but I was born in London, as you probably tell from my accent. I've been here for on and off over 20 years, and I'm a style consultant and confidence coach, like Limor said. And today we're going to be exploring how to align our inner world, our inner image, to our outer world, outer image. So it's basically going to be looking at joining the dots between how we feel about ourselves and how we see ourselves to how we show up in the world and how we dress and present ourselves. So I'm just going to share a presentation. Great. So I just want you to take a few moments and just ask yourself if you're 100% here, because it's quite easy to get distracted by phones and notifications and other things going on. So just take a moment to ask yourself if you're 100% here right now. Are you 100% here right now? And just allowing yourself to come into the space and into this present moment. Absolutely. Thank you, Limor. It's a really good question to ask ourselves, actually, when we're about to do anything, especially when we're going to learn something, or we're giving a presentation, or we're going into a meeting, or teaching something. It's a really good question to ask yourself, because it just brings you into the present moment. The fact that you're asking yourself, you're asking the mind, are you here right now? It's like affirming in some ways as well. So like I said, today we're going to be talking about aligning your inner world and your outer world to show up as your magnetic self through a system that I created called the icon system. So this system I use with every client I work with, whether that's a corporate client workshops or whether that's with a one-to-one client. And as Limor said, so I'm a style and confidence coach. 1 second, I just can't seem to move. Oh, here we go. Stylist and confidence coach. And so basically I work mainly women, but I have also worked with different individuals from all walks of life, but I tend to work more with women. And I work with them on their transforming their mindset, exuding confidence, and showing up as their magnetic self. I do this through one-to-one programs, workshops. I have a podcast. And basically what I saw, because I was primarily focused more on styling at the beginning, but through my own personal journey, I began to see how the clients that I was working with, even if they put a beautiful dress on, maybe after a week or so, they didn't feel empowered or so good anymore. So I started to realize, like I said, through my own personal journey and actually seeing my clients, that it's not just about the clothes we wear. It's about how we feel on the inside, which led me to then create this system, which is the icon system. So this is your inner world. So again, that's all about the relationship you have with yourself, how you see yourself, how you cultivate the relationship you have with yourself, your confidence. So again, exuding confidence, building confidence, feeling confident, owning the skin you're in, which is very much focused on the relationship you have with your body acceptance, body neutrality. And then the new you, which is very much about how you present yourself to the world, but most importantly, how you present yourself to yourself. And then your magnetic life is the step after that. So when I look today at your inner image, so your inner world, now both our inner and outer world are very important, but often we find they're disconnected. Like I was saying before, when I was working with clients just on styling, I realized that there was so much more to be done, or that could be done, to actually empower ourselves to look at the relationship we have with ourselves and how we see ourselves, and not just going, okay, well, I'm going to buy this nice dress and I'm going to feel great in it. But if I don't feel good, then this dress is going to be like a temporary fix almost, right? I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that before. I know I definitely have.
I have several pair of shoes that I bought that I used once, because I like them. I still like them, but they're not me. It was not comfortable for me. I didn't feel comfortable with it. So I never used it again. And I know that I use about 10% of my wardrobe at any given time.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I don't eat as much as possible, but it's kind of happening all the time that I buy and then I don't use it.
Yeah, absolutely more. And it's really interesting because often we buy things when we're out of alignment. So when we've had something happen in the day and we walk past a shop, we walk in and we buy something to fill a void in some way if we're feeling emotional. It's a bit like food as well. Sometimes we'll go to like the sugary things or things that we tend to think of as not good, and we'll eat them or we'll drink alcohol, whatever. I mean, it just depends on each person, but it's very much, I think it's really important to realize when we go out to buy things, like to be really conscious of like, do I really love this? Is this really me? And often what I'll do, and I say to my clients, is walk away and go back, leave it a couple of days and then go back. So, and just one other thing on the thing you said about you use probably 10% of your wardrobe. Most people use 20% of 80% of the wardrobe, their current wardrobe, which is fascinating. So really we have all this stuff and we're only using about 20%. So, I mean, most of us will find that when we do like a wardrobe edit or detox, we'll find that we have a lot of things we've still got labels in or that we forgot that we had. So that's why it's very important to really connect and with your inner image, your inner world, to align with your outer world, because then you'll start buying less things that you don't actually like or that are not aligned with you, or not that you don't like them, but they're not you.
Yeah.
Right.
And Jackie said, Jackie, thank you for your comment. She said, constantly I'll have a great outfit and makeup done and still feel down at times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting, Jackie. Thank you for sharing. That often happens. And I think it's, again, here's the thing. Sometimes when we put some lipstick on or some makeup on and a nice dress or a nice outfit, it can make us feel great, right? And it can really boost us. But if we're not feeling good in general, then it will just kind of give us a high for a bit. And then then we go back low, if you know what I mean. So that's the importance of really looking at your inner image and how you feel about yourself, which is exactly what we're going to do right now. So your inner image or inner world is all about the relationship you have with yourself, how you see yourself, which is so important, because we often are thinking a lot about how other people perceive us, and we never really think about how we actually see ourselves. And then how you can cultivate your inner world. So I'm just going to ask a couple of questions. You don't have to answer them. It's just to get you to think a little bit. So, how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about the relationship you have with yourself? Have you ever thought about the relationship you have with yourself? Because more often than not, we're very focused on relationships, but the relationships we have with other people, right? So we cultivate relationships with our friends, our family, partners, work colleagues. But I find that very little do we stop and think about the relationship we actually have with ourselves. So just take a moment to think about some qualities that you appreciate in relationships you have with others. So that could be, for example, trust, loyalty, communication, fun. Just have a think about what is important to you in relationships that you have with other people. And just take a moment to think if you cultivate those qualities with yourself. Do you cultivate communication if that's important to you? Do you communicate well with yourself? Do you have fun with yourself? Are you loyal, truthful, honest? If anyone has any questions throughout, please feel free to just open the mic or use the chat box. So then we also want to think about how we actually see ourselves. So take a moment and just write down 3 words on how you see yourself. Don't overthink this, just let it come to you. 3 words, there's more, there'll be more, but just 3. Just jot down 3. And if you wish to share, that'd be really great. Because also it's really important to share, because we also inspire each other when we do that. Oh, let me look in the chat. Here we go.
Yeah, I shared it. 3
Yeah, just seeing it.
Yeah.
Great. Transparent, optimistic, honest. Wonderful. Do you feel like you cultivate those things with yourself? Is it something that you're aware of with the relationship you have with yourself? Like, are you optimistic, honest?
Yeah, generally, yes. I would say yes.
Right. Yeah. Wonderful. Does anyone else like to share? Or make any comment? Right. So moving on from how you see yourself is what's really important, which is connected to how you see yourself, is how can you cultivate your inner world? So there are many different ways that we can cultivate the relationship we have with ourselves and our inner image. For example, self-care is a great way. So that's like taking time to just be with yourself, or maybe it's, using some wonderful creams, or maybe it's taking time out each day to journal for 20 minutes, meditation, exercise, visualization, breath work, meditation, anything that gets you connected and gives you space to nurture yourself. Could be cooking a nutritious meal. So just think about whether you do any of these on a daily basis.
And I can share that several years ago, I decided to take care of myself, like physically, and I started working out regularly. And this is something I don't give up. I mean, any day of the week. Just make sure I take the hour and a half for myself. And, I personally go to the gym, and I do that completely for myself. I invest in, sometimes in personal trainers. So I do, invest also the time and money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very important for me.
Yeah, Maria also says exercise is important. Yeah, absolutely. And I think exercise or any movement in general is great because it gets us out of our head and more into our body. So it really connects us, which is great. It's like if you're feeling nervous about things, it's great to go out for a walk, or feeling anxious, or if you've got something important coming up, like to really get into your body so that your mind, because our mind often fabricates thoughts that are not true. And so when we exercise, it's like we come more into the body. So that's a great way to cultivate the relationship we have with ourselves. Anyone else do anything else? Jackie, focusing my meditation allows me to feel more calm and grounded along with exercise. Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you, Jackie. Yeah, and Maria says a walk can change my whole perspective. Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? Just to take a bit of perspective and take some time out. And I think it's really important that we schedule this kind of thing in as well, because it's so easy to just get whisked away by all our responsibilities, especially if you've got children as well. So it's really taking time out to care for yourself, to nurture yourself, which then makes us feel good, which then helps us to show up more of our authentic self. Because when you're feeling low, you doubt yourself, you lack confidence. But when we actually nurture ourselves, it changes our energy and the way we show up. I mean, like when you often, if you don't feel like exercising, for example, that's when you should most do it, right? Because that's when you really need it. It's like the mind's going, oh, I don't feel like doing it today. And you do it and you feel so much better afterwards. So it's just shifting the energy. Great. Here we go. So let's just talk a little bit about confidence, because the more we can cultivate our inner world, the more confident we're going to feel. So it's really important that we cultivate or look at our positive qualities. It's so easy to get wrapped into, things that we don't like about ourselves, instead of looking at the positives. It's like we always look at what we haven't done versus what we have actually achieved. So take a moment and just write down, let's say, 3 positive qualities about yourself. Feel free to share in the chat box if you wish to. 3 positive qualities. And of course, there will be more, but it's just nice to have 3. You can actually do this exercise. I did this exercise once and it was 20 qualities. And it was actually a great exercise. 20 qualities and also 20 successes. So if you have time, I highly suggest you do that, because it's really good confidence building exercise.
It's challenging to think of 20.
I know, but that's the whole point, right? Is to like, because we don't sit and think about all the great things that we've done or all our positive qualities, really. We kind of take these things for granted, and we don't celebrate ourselves enough either, especially, I think, more important now with the way the world is and how it's shifted so much and everything we've gone through in the past 18 months. I think it's really important to look at our successes and our positive qualities. And successes doesn't mean it has to be anything massive. It could be the most simplest thing of, I don't know, meditating for 5 minutes every day, or cooking a nutritious meal, or changing a habit, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be something like writing a book, which it can be as well, but it doesn't have to be anything big, because we often think of successes as big things that we do. Does anyone want to share any of their positive qualities? You can share in the chat box if you wish to. Don't be shy. Do you think it's linked to, your positive qualities are linked to what you thought about the way you see yourself?
I think it is, actually. I think it is related.
Okay, here we have. Hi, Zeppi. Tuning in late. Is the question positive qualities about ourselves? Absolutely. Nice to see you, Zeppi. So I was just saying, Zeppi, as well, it's a great exercise to do of writing 20 positive qualities and then 20 successes. You don't have to do that.
We have Jackie that, thank you so much, Jackie, for commenting. She said, I like that I'm kind, consistent, and loyal. This is in regards to myself and how I treat others.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you, Jackie. That's great. Often we find it hard to sometimes share these things about ourselves. Like, it's almost like we're boasting, but it's really important to honor, how we see ourselves, and to not be afraid of saying it. Like, if we don't blow our own trumpet, who's going to blow it, right? Okay, so moving on, mindset. So this is, a really interesting one, and it ties into everything we've been talking about. So there are two types of mindset. You've probably heard them before. There's fixed mindset and there's a growth mindset. So fixed is very much someone that believes that, you're born a certain way and that's it. So you're either born talented, for example, or you're not. Or you're born, with a dawn of playing the piano, but you can't learn it. Everything, that a fixed mindset believes that that's the way things are and they can't change, basically. Whereas the growth mindset speaks for itself. It's very much about cultivating the mindset of, I can learn something, I can explore. It doesn't think that, you're born a certain way and that's it, and you can't change. So often we can fluctuate between the two, which most of us do in certain moments. But it's really important to have an overall growth mindset. So really tapping into knowing that you can do something instead of, I can't do that because I wasn't or haven't. So it's all about, okay, I'm going to try. Growth mindset believes that failures are just lessons of learning, and they're more, a growth mindset is not afraid to fail, because often we can get paralyzed by our fear of failure, when really failure is just a diversion, and it's actually teaching us something. So it's really important when we're looking at our image to cultivate this growth and positive mindset, and looking at ourselves in a positive way, not looking at what isn't working, but more like what is working. Which moves on to our inner dialogue. Now, this is a massive, extensive topic, really. And for me, I think meditation is what really helped me understand the way I speak to myself. I know quite a few of you here meditate as well, because you've already commented. So are you aware of how you speak to yourself on a daily basis? Just give me a yes or no. You can put it in the chat box, or
how you speak to yourself.
Yes. Are you aware of how you talk to yourself on a daily basis? So maybe let's do an example. When you look in the mirror, when you're getting, dressed or whatever, or you're putting on makeup or putting on creams or whatever, or drying your hair, brushing your hair, are you aware of your inner dialogue? How you talking to yourself?
Definitely. That's a good example. Thanks.
Okay, Jackie says, yes, I am now. I speak more positively and encouraging to myself. Amazing. That's great. It's really important to catch ourselves out when we're not speaking to ourselves nicely. And we'll talk a little bit in a minute about mirror work, which is extremely powerful. And that for me was a massive eye-opener of how I was talking to myself, especially when I was looking at myself in the mirror. So thank you for sharing that, Jackie. Anyone else?
I can tell you that every time I look at the mirror, I speak at myself differently.
Interesting. Yeah.
Sometimes I feel amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel horrible.
Right, exactly. And this is really interesting, actually, Limor, because we're not always going to feel positive. Like, I think it's really important to recognize this as well, because there is this kind of thing of like being positive all the time and looking at everything as like positive. And some, like, human beings, we have our ups and downs when, we can't always be 100%. And so I think it's really important as well to realize that some days we're not going to feel as good as others, and that's okay. And it's being really aware of that, and being okay with like actually some days not feeling 100%, but not beating ourselves up because of it. Like, so if we do see ourselves looking in the mirror, for example, not feeling that great that day, just to be really aware of our inner dialogue and be kinder to ourselves. But this thing of like, not that, I guess it's like the fake positivity. It's like, I think it's really important to acknowledge that not every day we're going to feel 100%, and that's completely okay. Yeah, Maria says, I am aware of how I speak to myself, but it's not always positive. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, some days it won't be, but it's being aware of it. Because when we're not aware of it, we can't actually change it, or we can't actually see it for what it is and know that it's just our mind fabricating thoughts. But when we actually see it, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not feeling so positive today. I'm being a bit hard on myself. And that just softens it. And also when you bring awareness to it, that is when it actually transforms. Okay, Jackie, thinking I'm not enough is always a challenge for me. But I remember my yoga instructor once saying, thank you. Thank yourself for being here today. Absolutely. Don't know why that shocked me, but it definitely shifted my awareness of self. Wow. Yes, absolutely, Jackie. Thank you for sharing. It's so true. Like, we forget because we can also get quite entwined and entangled in our thoughts. So yeah, and it's interesting in yoga, isn't it? Just by showing up on the yoga mat, that's enough. Okay, so I'm going to move on to talk about affirmations. So I don't know if any of you do any affirmations, explore them, or have any experience with them. For me, they are and have been life-changing. And it's really interesting because whenever I'm not feeling great, it's actually harder for me to do them. But affirmations are powerful statements in the present. So let me know if any of you do affirmations on a daily basis, if you've experimented with them, how they feel. Anyone like to share? Okay, great. So, here we go. Let me just open the chat.
What does it mean to do affirmations exactly? I mean, Maria said I haven't done affirmations. I'm not exactly sure what it means.
Okay, so affirmations are affirming statements. So, for example, when I think it was it was Jackie, thinking I'm not enough is always a challenge for me. So let's just take this one as an example. Now, it's probably one of the biggest limiting beliefs that we have, and it's often the root of other ones that can come up. So, okay, I believe I'm not enough. So I want to actually start to affirm the opposite. So, for example, an affirmation could be, I am enough, I always have been enough, and I always will be enough. So you always want to use the present tense. You always want to think about counteracting a negative belief that you have about yourself. Now, sometimes people say, oh, I feel really uncomfortable with affirmations. So one of the things that I do is I create scripts. And so here I call them magnetic scripts. And basically, I write down in the present tense all the different affirmations. So, for example, I am energetic, I am strong, I am confident, I am enough, I always will be enough, I feel good in my body, I am grounded, I am peaceful, or whatever you are looking to affirm, because sometimes these change. And what I do is I have this written down. I also include in my magnetic scripts things that I want to happen. So I affirm them that they've already happened. So I act as if. Does that make sense? So, for example, if I want to work for a certain organization, then I would start to write affirmations within my magnetic script. I am working for Power to Fly. I feel strong, confident, happy. So this is taking the affirmations and creating a script. Does anyone have any questions? And so what you do with the script, every morning you read it out and you get into the feelings. So often what I'll do is I'll meditate first and then I'll read it out loud. Anyone have any questions on this? Feel free to open your mic. Does anyone feel awkward doing this kind of thing? No? Okay, great. So going back, now I'm going to move on to the mirror work. So once we've looked at our affirmations and we've started to create some powerful statements, and then we create our magnetic script, then we go to the mirror. So what I do is I get my script, get my piece of paper, or some people put it in their phones as well, notes. First of all, I look into the mirror. So I look into my eyes in the mirror and I ask myself, Lou, are you 100% here right now? So just like we did at the beginning. And then I say to myself, I'm going to talk to the parts of you that most need to hear this today. And then I start to read my script to myself out loud. So, Lou, I love you. You are enough. You always have been enough. Or you can say, I am enough. It depends. Some people like to say their name and you, or I do, I am enough. I love you, Lou. That way. So it just depends what resonates more. So you can do I am, which is really actually better for the affirmations, or you can mix it up. Like you could say, like, looking into your eyes, Lou, you are enough. You always have been enough. You always will be enough. And the mirror work is extremely powerful. It's quite uncomfortable at the beginning. And because we're not used to looking in the mirror in our eyes and into our soul, normally we look in the mirror to see our hair or put our makeup on or look at what we're wearing. We never really look in the mirror deep within. So these are the way that affirmations and the magnetic script I use to connect with my inner world to boost my confidence. And the mirror work, I use it to really tap into my soul and really affirm everything I'm saying in my magnetic script. Does anyone have any questions, any comments? Have you ever tried this? Sometimes it can be quite emotional because we don't, like I said before, we don't often look at ourselves in the mirror, in our eyes, and look deeper within ourselves. We normally look in the mirror to see what we're wearing or to put our makeup on, or to blow dry our hair. Does anyone have any questions? No? Any comments? Have any of you ever done this before?
Manny, do you want to say something? No, okay.
No. Okay. But let me know if you've ever done it before, if you think you'd quite like to do it.
Sounds interesting. I don't think I've ever done this. I mean, I look at myself in the mirror, obviously, but I haven't actually.
Yeah, of course. But like I said, we don't normally think about looking at ourselves in the mirror other than, what we're wearing, to brush our hair, makeup. Do we really ever really look deep within our eyes? It's a really, really incredible exercise. Jackie says, this is strong validation for me. This past September, I tried 30 days in the mirror of affirmations and writing them down, one a day. Amazing. I am enough. I am healing. I am smart. Absolutely. That's amazing, Jackie. How did it feel? I can imagine some days were harder than others sometimes, because it's not, like I said before, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do, especially when we've never done it before. It can be quite overwhelming.
Yes, at first, I'm like, what am I doing? This is silly. But as I kept going, it's like, okay, this is easier to do. And then I find myself feeling a little bit better. Or it's like, I'll try to do it in the morning, but sometimes it's like, you know, you just get busy. So it's like, oh, I haven't done the affirmation yet. Let me try this again. It's like, this, I don't believe this. And now I feel better about it. And I'm starting to believe myself more when I say it or read it.
Amazing. Yeah. Are you still doing it?
Yes.
Great. Amazing. Thank you for sharing, Jackie. Yeah, it's really powerful. Really powerful. Wonderful. Does anyone have any other questions or comments they'd like to share before we move on? Great. Okay, so moving on. So outer image. So important is our inner image, the way we see ourselves and the way we treat ourselves, the way, you know, the relationship we have with ourselves is, for me, vital to us then showing up as our authentic and most authentic self, right? So, and you know, our outer image, a lot of people think, oh, fashion, style, clothes are frivolous, but really style it's who you are. It's an expression of who you are, and it's really it's a way of communicating to the world. And it's also the way we present ourselves to the world, but not just to the world, but to ourselves. Let me just read the comment. Manny, I'm having low self-esteem. Okay, Manny, just to regress one moment, try to do some affirmations. I'd really recommend you tried what Jackie has been doing, 30 days in the mirror, and just one a day. I think that would be great. So outer image. So it's really about looking at the way we see ourselves and aligning that with how we want to show up in the world and how we aspire to show up in the world. So our outer image is not inclusive to style. It's the way we move. It's the way we speak. It's our energy. It's what we give off. It's our communication. So it's not just about the clothes we wear, but it's this it's our person. It's who we are. It's our energy, right? So just ask yourself for a moment, do you think your inner world and your outer world, so your inner image and your outer image, are aligned? Do you feel like you are aligned? When our outer and inner world are aligned, it's really powerful. Any of you want to comment? Do you feel like you're aligned? Do you feel like you're not aligned? Something that you're working on, or it's quite new to you?
I'm not sure if I'm not aligned. How do I know if I'm aligned?
How do you, sorry, I'm just losing the presentation. How do you know if you're aligned? Okay, so let's look at how you feel about yourself and your inner image. Okay, Limor, so is your inner image represented in your outer image? So for example, the way you dress, is that in alignment with your inner image? Because often what happens is we dress out of alignment. So here's another way of explaining it. So imagine if I want to speak on a stage. I want to do a TED talk, for example. And I want to show up in the world as this powerful, inspiring woman. Okay, what would I be wearing? What would my energy be like? So if I showed up hunched up like this in a tracksuit, what would I be giving off? What energy would I be giving off? What image would I be giving off? So the powerful thing is that actually clothes and what we wear can change the way we feel. It can help us feel a different way as well. So if I want to show up as this powerful, strong, inspiring woman, then I'm not going to be wearing a tracksuit on the stage, am I? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like dressing for who we aspire to be. It's already in there. It's who we are, but often we hide it and we tap it away. You know, so if you're, I don't know, a female entrepreneur and you want to, I don't know, write a book, be on stages, or you're higher, or you want to get a promotion, this is a good one. You want to get a promotion in a company, what kind of image would you like to have, and how would you want to show up to then be able to step into this role, to step into your magnetic power? Does it make sense? Any questions? So really, style comes from within. It's a manifestation of our inner world. So for example, if I am, and there's nothing wrong with tracksuits and loungewear. However, the clothes we wear do affect how we feel. So if I'm sitting around all day in my tracksuit and I'm working from home, and, you know, I want to feel powerful and strong and inspired, then most likely my tracksuit on a very subtle and subliminal level is actually not making me feel the most empowered. Hence the name loungewear. It's specifically for lounging. These are just a few examples of how clothes can affect us and make us feel. And often, you know, with our inner image and how we see ourselves, this is a constant, it's constant work. It's, you know, it's personal development. We are working on ourselves to feel better, to connect more with ourselves, to grow, to cultivate this growth mindset. And the same thing happens with our outer image. You know, you want to constantly think about how you want to show up in the world. How do you want to show up for yourself? Okay, so what we're going to do now is just do a little visualization. So I'd just like you to come to a nice seated position and try to, if you're sitting on a chair, I'd like you to place your feet on the floor. Your spine is nice and straight, your shoulders are relaxed. And then just gently closing your eyes. So turning your eye gaze inwards. And just gently connecting to the breath. Observing the inhale and the exhale. And have the intention to connect with your heart center. And if your mind starts to fabricate any thoughts, just let them go and keep coming back to the present moment, coming back to your heart center. So just start to visualize yourself in a year's time. Just to allow any images, any words to come. And if you're feeling a little bit of resistance, know that that's completely okay. Don't close. So visualizing yourself in a year's time, what are you doing? Where are you? And who are you with? What are you wearing? Are you wearing colors? What kind of clothes are you wearing? Is it more structured? Is it flowy? How does it feel? How does it feel on your skin? And how does it make you feel? And stay connected to your heart. Stay open. Don't close. And just allow any images or words So what are you doing? Maybe you're getting different images, which is completely okay. Tune into the feelings. Tune into how you feel. Just breathing in and out through your nose. What are you wearing? How does it feel on your skin? Is it cold, hot? Where are you? And take a long, deep cleansing inhale through the nose. And exhale. And I want you to just gently open your eyes, keep your eye gaze downwards. And just grab a pen and paper and just write down any of the words, any of the images that came to you. How it felt. And if any of you want to share. So normally with this exercise, it's about stepping into more of who you are. So aligning more with your authentic self. And also from this exercise, what I normally do as well with clients and in groups is we do this quite a few times. You can do this quite a few times, and then you start to get more clear on your outer image, your style, how you want to show up. So, for example, we look for 3 adjectives. So it could be 3 keywords. So it could be powerful, colorful, bold, minimal, that summarize our style. So 3 keywords. And from there, you can then start to curate and cultivate your style. And the first thing that you do there is go to your wardrobe. So once you've done this exercise a few times and you get your keywords, then you go to your wardrobe and start to edit your wardrobe, looking at if what you have is aligned with any of these 3 keywords. So it's a great exercise to do because often we don't even think about it. You know, and getting dressed is really, for me, it's important to be intentional with it. And I've talked about this a lot of times, that instead of getting dressed for how we feel, we want to be getting dressed for how we want to feel. And that is where the power of clothes is dressing for how we want to feel, playing with clothes, playing with our looks, exploring ourselves through the power of clothes, the power of style. Because like I said before, style comes from within. It's a manifestation of our inner world. Does anyone have any questions? Would any of you like to share any images, words that came up for you? Anything interesting that you felt whilst doing this exercise? Do any of you have a clear idea of what your 3 words would be? Don't be shy. Limor, we did this before. Has anything changed for you?
Yeah, actually, I saw another image today. Well, I'm looking for a house to buy, so I guess it's kind of, one of the houses I saw today. I saw myself sitting in the backyard of that house.
Wow. Nice.
Coffee. And I was wearing casual, but not as casual as I usually wear.
Mm-hmm.
White, soft pants with a blue colored shirt.
Nice.
I was very relaxed. And after that, I was walking and going to some meeting, to a business meeting. And I felt very relaxed and confident.
Nice. I love that. Great. Anyone else like to share? Okay, great. So what is one action step you can take today to align your inner and outer world? So what is one thing that you can take away from the time we've had together to cultivate? Maybe it's more of your inner world, maybe it's the mirror work, or maybe you're like, no, I really want to work on my style and the way I show up. Let me know in the chat, or feel free to come off mute and share.
I'm thinking the affirmations probably is a good thing for me to try.
No. Great. Jackie, Maria, Manny, anything? Oh, Maria says affirmations as well. Yeah, great. It's really interesting as well, because when we start to really cultivate our inner world, the way we begin, or the way we show up changes, the way we dress changes, the way we feel about ourselves changes. So obviously the way we dress is going to be different, right, when we really cultivate the inner world. So Jackie says, going to work on the outer, making sure it better reflects my inner. Wonderful. Love that. Thank you, Jackie. Mani? So does anyone have any questions at all, that, or any doubts, or would like to share anything? Okay, great. So if any of you would like to have a complimentary 20-minute session with me, I have my Calendly link here for you to book a session in. I'll send it, or I think, Limo, you have it already. And also you can send the recording of the visualization to everyone. Yeah, because the visualization is great to do it quite a few times, just because, like, you'll see Limo did it the other day, and already this time it's more images and different things have come up. So it's great to do it about 3 to 4 times to really get, you know, into it and start like exploring more your style and your outer world, connecting it to your inner world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you so much for being here. It's been wonderful to share time with you all this afternoon, or maybe it's morning for you. I'm not sure. Here it's about 7 p.m. So
for doing that. It was wonderful. It was
thank
great
you.
doing some of it again.
Sorry?
It was great doing some of it again.
Yes. Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much, Nimrod. And thank you, Jackie, Maria, and Manny, for being here. I think Zeppi must have got cut off. But thank you all for being here. Like I said, feel free to reach out to me if any questions come up. Let me know about your experiences. If you're going to do the affirmations and the mirror work, I'd love to know more about how that goes for you. Jackie, if you have anything you'd like to chat about with style and your outer world, like I said, feel free to contact me and book in a mini session. And thank you, Limo, for having me. It's been wonderful.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, as always. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.